Hello there, and welcome to Telling Stories. I'm Christopher Schultz, historian, media critic, news junkie, and I just want to welcome you to an episode. Today, our episode is going to talk about something that has been in the news lately. It is an issue called merit. And some of you may have heard of this because Justin Trudeau, our recently sworn in Prime Minister of Canada, has decided to appoint a cabinet of 50% women and 50% men. But this has stirred up some controversy, and frankly, I don't know why. Jonathan Kay, Andrew Coyne, Tasha Karadan, a number of prominent Canadian journalists have come out swinging against this decision, and their main problem with it is this idea of merit, and I just can't quite wrap my head around that. All of the women who have been appointed to the positions now, these 16 women, are definitely qualified candidates. So let's just put all that aside. But let's come back to this issue of merit. Merit only becomes an issue at the beginning of the 20th century. So we're talking about over 100 years ago. And the main reason why merit and merit-based competition and appointment and these kinds of things, why this entered into our way of talking about issues is that suddenly the doors were thrown open in public education. No longer were the public schools strictly run by and for the aristocracy. When we talk about merit, we need to put it within this context of really only the last 100 years. Because prior to that, it was aristocracy, it was guild work, it was basically whatever your parents did, you were likely to do. The point is that it is only really in this time period, sort of the late 19th and early 20th century, that we see this kind of diminishment of the aristocracy and a rise of a merit-based society. Now, why does that matter? Because meritocracy only emerges as a consequence of opening the public sphere to anybody. Now, why does that matter? Because merit is defined as something which is earned, usually because you've done a particularly good job of doing something else. So the question then is, how does one get a merit-based appointment without experience? Merit is only important when it's struck with a balance of allowing inexperienced people to gain experience. So let's say, hypothetically, that none of the women that were appointed to cabinet had any experience with governance or any experience with their portfolios that they've been assigned. We know this isn't true, of course, but let's pretend that it was. How is somebody supposed to get experience doing these things if they never get appointed to the position? And this, to me, is one of the key problems with the idea of merit. Experience is a reward based on merit. So you can see what the consequences of this are, is that in a merit-based society where it is assumed that everything is equal, look, here's the problem. Things are not equal. So to be advocating for a merit-based society when things are not equal makes no sense. Unless you have experience doing something, you don't get rewarded for doing something. There's a circular logic going on here. If you can only receive an appointment because you are particularly good at it, and you can only get good at something because you receive experience doing it, where's the merit? What you're actually doing is creating a circular system that rewards itself. So my experience lends itself to greater experience, and that's fine, except that there's a whole generation of people after me who have no experience. So when we talk about merit, we need to keep these things in mind. That sometimes the doors need to be thrown open. The fact is that the merit-based society can actually be a barrier against entry for people who lack experience. Sometimes you need to take extreme measures to ensure that the merit-based society that everybody claims to want actually can work. And one of the ways that this is done is by deliberately putting people who lack the experience or who lack the opportunity anyway to actually get into these positions. So thanks for coming to Telling Stories this week. My name is Chris Schultz, and I hope that you've enjoyed the program. I hope that you'll subscribe below, and I hope that you'll leave me a comment telling me what you liked, what you didn't like, and maybe what you'd like to hear more about as we go forward. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.